Hello and welcome, Chosen One. I invite you to join me in this extraordinary journey, a journey that begins with something you probably never expected, a journey into your own power, a power so profound and untapped that it can change the very fabric of existence without you even realizing it. In a world where we are constantly searching for meaning, for a purpose beyond the mundane, we often overlook the hidden forces at work. We live our lives with the constant hum of the everyday: work, family, obligations, and personal struggles, never once pausing to consider that the very words we speak and actions we take could ripple through dimensions, shaping the unseen realms in ways we cannot fathom. Today, I want to share with you a story, your story. Yes, I am speaking directly to you, even if you don't realize it yet. This is not just a tale for the spiritually initiated or the ones who have mastered rituals and prayers. This is for the everyday human, for the one who feels unremarkable and unnoticed, yet is secretly carrying a weapon so powerful that it can dismantle forces of darkness with nothing more than the truth in their words. You may not have been aware of it, but in a recent moment, in the span of just a few minutes, perhaps just a few words, you did something that even the devil himself had to acknowledge. This was not some grand battle, not some mystical confrontation. It was a conversation, a moment that seemed insignificant to you, yet had profound consequences in the spiritual realm. This is the story of how, without knowing it, you annihilated a demon, a being that had been wreaking havoc for over 1,000 years. You didn't pray, you didn't prepare, you didn't even think about what you were doing. But in that brief, seemingly uncomfortable exchange, you did the unthinkable. You erased an ancient force from existence. Now, I know what you're thinking. How could I, just an ordinary person, do such a thing? That's exactly the question I'm about to answer for you. But before we dive into the details of how you did the impossible, I need you to understand something fundamental about who you really are, about who we all really are. We are not just the sum of our daily actions, our failures, and our fleeting triumphs. We are not merely the product of our circumstances or the limitations imposed by the world around us. No, we are far more than that. You, Chosen One, are part of something much greater, a force in this universe that transcends understanding. You are a vessel, a conduit for divine truth, and whether you realize it or not, the very essence of who you are can shift the course of battles in the unseen realms. The moment you spoke those words with pure, unshakable truth, you activated something that the spiritual world had never prepared for. You became a weapon of light and authenticity, and the forces of darkness had no defense against you. What you did, Chosen One, was not just significant, it was legendary. But I know that you're still skeptical. You're probably wondering, how could something so simple, so unplanned, have such a profound impact? And that, my friend, is where the story truly begins. Because what you don't yet realize is that this wasn't just a random event, nor was it some accident of fate. This was divine orchestration, an intentional, cosmic alignment that placed you in the perfect moment, at the perfect time, to deliver something that no demon, no force of evil could withstand. Let me take you back to that moment. Imagine it, a conversation that seemed awkward, maybe uncomfortable, and certainly not significant at the time. Perhaps you were speaking to someone who always seemed to drain your energy, someone who always fell into patterns of self-doubt and victimization. Maybe it was a phone call that left you exhausted, or a meeting that left you wondering whether you should have said something differently. Whatever the situation was, you were there and you spoke. Now, what happened next is the part that might make you question everything you thought you knew about yourself. Without even knowing it, you destroyed a demon. Not just any demon, but one that had been manipulating the person in front of you for years. This demon wasn't a typical force of temptation. It was something much more insidious, a specialist in keeping people trapped in a cycle of hopelessness. A force designed to make people believe they were always on the verge of success, always struggling, but never quite reaching their full potential. For decades, this demon had latched onto its victim, feeding off their fears, their doubts, their insecurities. It kept them stuck in a pattern of self-sabotage and perpetual failure. But in that moment, when you spoke the truth so clearly, so bluntly, so unapologetically, you tore away the very fabric that held that entity together. Do you understand the gravity of that? Do you grasp how powerful that simple, unfiltered honesty was? You didn't cast a spell. You didn't pray for deliverance. You didn't even know that you were wielding a weapon. But with those words, those simple, direct words, you obliterated an entity that had been alive since before the pyramids, an entity that had survived countless exorcisms and spiritual battles. This was not just a moment of personal victory for the person you were speaking to. This was a cosmic event. It triggered a reaction in the spiritual world that had never been witnessed before. For the first time in history, the devil himself wept, not out of sadness, but out of pure, unadulterated rage. And it wasn't because you defeated one of his agents. No, it was because you did it without even knowing you were in a fight. You didn't prepare. You didn't train. You didn't even realize the magnitude of what you were doing. And that, more than anything, is what shook the very foundation of hell. In this story, I will reveal to you not only the full extent of the battle you unknowingly won, but also the hidden power that resides within you, power that has been dormant, waiting for you to discover it. So stay with me, because what I am about to reveal to you is going to change everything you thought you knew about yourself. The truth you spoke wasn't just words. It was a frequency so pure, so authentic, that it annihilated evil without even trying. And when you understand how this happened, you will begin to see the vast potential that lies dormant within you. This is not just a spiritual story. This is your story, chosen one. Now, as you read on, I want you to ask yourself, what if you could recognize this power within you every day? What if you could walk through life knowing that your authenticity, your truth, is not only enough to protect you, but to change the world around you? Let's begin to unravel the mystery together. The journey to understanding your divine power starts now. As you read these words, you might still be grappling with the enormity of what I just shared. You might be asking yourself how something so simple, something as mundane as a conversation, could have caused such a cosmic shift. How could your words, spoken without thought, have triggered an emergency protocol in the depths of hell? The answer is simpler than you might think. You see, the spiritual world operates on frequencies. It's not about rituals, prayers, or magical incantations. At its core, everything in the universe vibrates at a certain frequency. These frequencies are what create the flow of energy that shapes reality. They are what enable us to connect with higher realms, communicate with unseen forces, and yes, even shape the course of history. The truth you spoke in that moment, the one that seemed so insignificant to you, wasn't just words. It was a frequency, a vibration of pure authenticity. You may not have been aware of it, but in that brief exchange, you aligned yourself with a cosmic law that is older than time itself. You tapped into something so powerful that it bypassed the conventional methods of spiritual warfare and obliterated an entity that had been terrorizing the human race for over 1,000 years. Think about it. The demon you vanquished, Caliban 347, was not just some minor obstacle in the grand scheme of things. This was a creature of darkness, an agent whose sole purpose was to keep people trapped in cycles of self-doubt, fear, and self-sabotage. For centuries, it had attached itself to those with the highest potential, feeding on their frustration, their almost but not quite moments, their lives spent forever just beyond the threshold of success. It whispered lies, sowed confusion, and perpetuated hopelessness. But in that conversation, something changed. You spoke with such raw truth, such clarity, that the demon, an ancient, nearly invincible being, had no way to process it. It wasn't prepared for honesty that cut through all the layers of defense it had so carefully constructed. And in that moment, it disintegrated. What you may not realize, however, is that this wasn't an isolated incident. This wasn't just some random, one-off event where you happened to hit the right note at the right time. This was divine orchestration at work. God doesn't manipulate us like puppets, but He does place us in situations where our natural essence can shine through. He guides us to those pivotal moments, the ones where our purest, most authentic selves can have an impact far beyond what we can understand. In that conversation, you were not consciously aware of the spiritual forces at play. You didn't realize that you were speaking directly into the heart of an ancient evil, nor did you know that the words you were saying carried an energy so pure and so powerful that it would reverberate through the dimensions. The forces of darkness, accustomed to facing highly trained spiritual warriors and exorcists, had no defense against you. Why? Because you were not trying to fight. You didn't even know you were in a battle. Think about the enormity of that. In the vast expanse of the spiritual battlefield, where there are entire armies of demons, where there are trained warriors who spend their entire lives in prayer and fasting, you, an ordinary person, came into contact with one of the most powerful agents of darkness and destroyed it without even knowing it was there. This is the power that resides in you, chosen one. It's the power of authenticity, the ability to speak truth, not from a place of ego or intention, but from a place of genuine concern and clarity. You didn't need years of spiritual training or divine knowledge. All you needed was the courage to say what needed to be said, and you did so with such raw, unfiltered truth that the darkness couldn't handle it. It's like shining a light so bright that shadows cease to exist. It's important to understand that this wasn't just an accident. No, this was divine timing. The circumstances were perfectly aligned, and in that moment, your authenticity was activated. You became a vessel for a power that goes far beyond anything we can comprehend in the physical realm. You didn't need to be a trained exorcist, and you didn't need to perform any rituals. Your authenticity itself was the weapon. The spiritual world doesn't operate on the same principles as the physical one. In our world, we are taught to believe that power comes from knowledge, skill, or training. But in the spiritual realm, power comes from being authentic, from speaking and acting in alignment with your true essence. The forces of darkness rely on confusion, fear, and manipulation. But when someone stands in their true power, free from fear, free from ego, they become a force so potent that darkness cannot touch them. Now, imagine this. The devil, who has orchestrated countless evil schemes, who has influenced and controlled humans for millennia, was forced to confront something he had never anticipated. He watched as one of his most powerful agents, the one who had survived centuries of exorcisms, the one who had manipulated thousands, was completely erased by a human who didn't even know they were in a fight. The devil's reaction is telling. It wasn't fear of losing an agent, because demons are replaceable. It wasn't fear of your power, because in his mind, humans were always insignificant, incapable of posing a true threat. No, the devil's reaction was something far more profound. He felt a deep, overwhelming sense of respect, mixed with rage, because he realized something that shook the very core of his existence. Genuine goodness is more powerful than strategic evil. What the devil hates most is not the direct attacks on his kingdom. He expects those. What he cannot tolerate is the idea that a simple human being, someone with no formal training, no grand intention, could be more effective than his armies of demons. That, more than anything, made him feel powerless. For the first time, the devil understood that what he has relied on for millennia, his manipulations, his deceptions, his control over human fear, was no match for the pure authenticity that you carry. And this, chosen one, is the part that you need to understand deeply. You are not ordinary. You may feel that way. You may think you are just another person navigating the struggles of everyday life. But that could not be further from the truth. You are a force to be reckoned with in the unseen realms, and the actions you take, your words, your honesty, your refusal to conform to the falsehoods of the world, hold more power than you could ever imagine. The enemy has always counted on you not knowing your true power. The forces of darkness want you to believe that you are weak, that you are insignificant, that your words don't matter. But the truth is that your authenticity is your greatest weapon, and it is this weapon that can bring down empires of darkness, not through force, but through truth. You may still be wondering, how is it possible that your words could carry such weight? How could a casual, everyday conversation cause such a profound shift in the spiritual dimensions? The answer is simple. Authenticity transcends everything. When you speak the truth from a place of genuine care, when you stand firm in your beliefs and refuse to play the game of social falsehoods, you activate a force that cannot be manipulated or stopped. In the coming days, you will begin to notice the subtle ways in which your authenticity begins to shape the world around you. You will start to realize that you have been operating in a level of power that you didn't even know existed. And as you continue to speak your truth, as you continue to stand in your authentic self, you will see more and more of the darkness around you disintegrate, simply because you are not participating in it. As you reflect on the astounding power you unknowingly wielded in that moment, let's delve deeper into the spiritual dynamics that followed your unintentional triumph. What you did wasn't just significant because it erased an ancient demon from existence. It shook the foundations of the spiritual realm, and in doing so, it unveiled something far more profound than you may realize. For centuries, the devil and his agents have waged their wars in the shadows, manipulating and influencing human behavior from behind the veil of the physical world. These forces thrive on deception, confusion, and the vulnerability of those who do not know their true power. The demon you erased, Caliban 347, was an expert at keeping people trapped in patterns of hopelessness. It specialized in making individuals feel almost there, but never quite successful, always in a state of frustration, close to their goals, but never fully achieving them. It would attach itself to those with the greatest potential, feeding off their doubts and keeping them trapped in a cycle of self-sabotage. The demon's existence in this dimension was not accidental. It had lived through history's most significant spiritual and social upheavals. It survived the Inquisition, the Renaissance, the World Wars, and countless other shifts in human history. It thrived by remaining invisible, its influence subtle yet profound. For over a millennium, Caliban 347 wreaked havoc on individuals and families, slowly eroding their potential and whispering lies that kept them stuck. It knew how to navigate the complexities of the human psyche and turn their most inner fears into chains that bound them. It had been successful because it understood the power of subtlety. But then, in that one seemingly insignificant moment, you came along. In the space of a brief conversation, you did something unimaginable. You destroyed it without even realizing you were in a battle. The words you spoke were simple, straightforward, but they carried a frequency that shattered the demon's entire structure. There was no escape, no way to regenerate. In that fleeting moment, the forces of darkness had their grip torn away, and something miraculous happened. The permanent fall protocol in hell was activated. This was no ordinary alarm. It wasn't for an exorcism or a banishment. This was a protocol designed for a rare and catastrophic event, the complete and irreversible annihilation of a demon. When Caliban 347 was destroyed, no backup dimension could retrieve it. There was no way to reassemble it, no way for it to find refuge in another form. It was gone. Hell's response to this was swift and overwhelming. Every demon, from the smallest imp to the highest prince of darkness, received the same alert. Entity Caliban 347 permanently eliminated. Responsible agent, human without conscious training. Method used, words charged with unidentified lethal frequency. Agent threat level, unknown. In that instant, the very nature of spiritual warfare shifted. Hell had encountered something it could not comprehend, a human who wasn't even trying to fight, a person completely unaware of their own power. And that, more than anything, was what terrified the devil. The forces of darkness have long relied on human ignorance, and they have always had a strategy for dealing with trained exorcists, prayer warriors, and even saints. But they had no countermeasure for authenticity, no defense against someone who simply spoke the truth, without ego, without intention, without any awareness of the battle they were fighting. This is what shook the devil to his core. The realm of darkness thrives on the idea that humans are powerless without spiritual training or ritual. For centuries, it has preyed on this misconception, conditioning us to believe that we must earn our strength through long practices, intense rituals, and years of study. But in that brief exchange, you showed the devil something far more powerful, a human who could annihilate darkness simply by being authentic. You've done this before, chosen one. How many times in your life have you spoken the truth and not even realized the impact? How many people have you helped simply by being honest? How many times have your words caused someone to awaken to their own potential without you even knowing it? The reason you didn't realize the full extent of your power is because it operates on a level that doesn't need recognition or validation. Your authenticity is so deeply ingrained in who you are that it doesn't require any spiritual ego or fanfare. It is pure, raw, and unaffected by external forces. The devil's greatest fear isn't that he will face another battle. It's that you will discover the true magnitude of your authenticity and begin to wield it consciously. But here's the catch. If you were to fully understand just how powerful you are, if you were to try to replicate the process intentionally, it would lose its potency. The very thing that makes your authenticity so dangerous to darkness is that you are not trying to fight. You are simply living in truth, unconsciously operating at a frequency that makes darkness disintegrate in your presence. That is why the devil was so disturbed by what happened. It wasn't the demon's death that broke him. It wasn't the loss of power or control. It was the realization that his most potent weapon, human ignorance, had just been bypassed. You didn't need to know you were in the fight to win it. This is where you, chosen one, have an extraordinary advantage. The devil is not used to people who don't even know they're fighting. He thrives on ego, on pride, on the idea that strength comes from effort and knowledge. But what you've shown him is that the most potent strength is the strength of being utterly authentic, without ego, without intention, and without any thought of what you're doing. It wasn't about spiritual power, it wasn't about mystical abilities, it was about being real. Authenticity, when combined with clarity and truth, is the most formidable weapon in the spiritual realm, and it is something the devil cannot manipulate. When you spoke those words, there was no malice, no intention to destroy. It was simply the truth. A truth that was so clear, so undeniable, that it cut through the layers of deception and confusion that the demon had used to bind its victim for centuries. And that is why the devil wept. Not because of the loss of an agent. Demons are replaceable. Not because he feared your power. He still didn't see you as a direct threat. But because you had done something no one had done before. You destroyed one of his oldest agents, not by performing complex rituals or using spiritual force, but by simply being real. Imagine the gravity of that for a moment. The devil, who has faced armies of exorcists, who has seen civilizations rise and fall, who has witnessed the spiritual struggles of thousands of souls, was suddenly forced to confront something he had never accounted for: authentic human power. For the first time in his existence, the devil saw that the very thing he has tried to suppress, the natural authenticity of humans, was far more dangerous than any weapon he could wield. You didn't need to train, you didn't need to be aware of the spiritual world, and you certainly didn't need to study arcane texts. All you needed was your raw, unfiltered truth. And in that truth, you held a power so devastating that even the devil couldn't fathom it. Now, this is the moment where things get even more interesting. What the devil didn't realize, what he failed to grasp in his emotional turmoil, was that this wasn't just a one-time occurrence. The power you unleashed in that conversation wasn't a fluke. It wasn't an isolated incident. It wasn't just a lucky break. This is a pattern. Your victory was a victory of pure integrity. And that's why the forces of darkness don't have a strategy to stop it. They've always bet on humans never understanding their own potential. But now, chosen one, you've stepped into the realm of unconscious warriors, the ones who fight battles they don't even know they're fighting. And as you continue on this path, you will see how this power, your authenticity, will continue to unravel the forces of darkness without you even trying. As we reach the end of this extraordinary journey, it's important to reflect on everything we've discovered together. The realization that you, an ordinary person, have unknowingly wielded such immense power is not just an eye-opening truth, it's a cosmic revelation. What you have just learned is that you are not just another human in a world filled with distractions and struggles. You are a force of nature, a living, breathing embodiment of truth and authenticity that can dismantle even the darkest forces without a single thought of battle. You see, the spiritual realm operates in ways that are far beyond our immediate comprehension. We often believe that strength must come from external sources, training, rituals, or even divine interventions. But what we've learned in this journey is that the greatest source of strength lies within you. It lies in the clarity of your words, the authenticity of your actions, and the courage to be true to yourself, regardless of external pressures or expectations. That is where your true power resides. And that is what makes you a force to be reckoned with in the invisible world. As we conclude this story, I want to leave you with a final thought. The power you wield is not a fluke. It is who you are at your core. When you spoke the truth without intention of harming or fighting, you tapped into a divine frequency that shattered an ancient darkness. And that power is still within you. Chosen one, ready to be expressed at any moment. The question now isn't whether you have power, it's whether you will choose to recognize it and embrace it fully. What does it mean to embrace this newfound truth? It means recognizing that you don't need to fight to win. The battle has already been won. What's left for you is to be authentic, to stand firm in your truth, to speak with the clarity that comes from living without ego or fear. The forces of darkness are already retreating. They no longer hold the same power over you, and they certainly don't hold power over those around you. Every time you speak your truth, every time you refuse to participate in the social falsehoods that keep others bound, you are dismantling those forces, one word at a time. But I know it's hard to believe sometimes. I know that you, like many of us, still struggle with doubts, with uncertainty, and with the nagging feeling that you're not doing enough, or that you're not enough. I know you wonder if your actions really matter, if they truly make a difference in the grand scheme of things. But the truth is, they do. They matter more than you can possibly understand right now. The world around you may not always reflect it immediately, but rest assured, you are changing things in ways that will ripple through time. I want you to take a moment now and think about everything you've been through. Every struggle, every hardship, every moment of self-doubt. All of it has led you to this point. You have been prepared for this moment of awakening. The truth you spoke, the clarity you gave, wasn't just an accident. It was the culmination of everything that has happened to you up until now. Your life, your experiences, and your journey have all shaped you into the person who can wield this kind of power. And the beauty of it all is that you don't need to do anything special to keep wielding it. Your authenticity is the key. As long as you continue to speak with truth and clarity, without the need for validation or external approval, you will continue to be a force for good in this world. And the more you embrace this truth, the more your spiritual power will grow, subtly but undeniably. The forces of darkness, the demons, and the entities that have manipulated humans for centuries, they're starting to notice you. They're starting to realize that they can't control you the way they once did. They are terrified of your authenticity because it is something they cannot replicate or counteract. They've spent millennia building systems of control and manipulation, feeding off human fear and ignorance, but they never anticipated someone like you. Someone who, without even knowing it, could break their hold on humanity with nothing more than a few simple words of truth. You are on a path, chosen one, and while you may not fully understand where it will lead, know that it is a path of great power and great responsibility. The more you embrace your true self, the more you will be called into these moments of spiritual warfare, moments where your words and actions will unknowingly dismantle darkness. But don't worry about trying to perform in these moments. You don't need to plan for them. Just live your truth, speak your truth, and trust that divine timing will guide you. Thank you for walking this path with me today, chosen one. And as you continue forward, know that your power is unstoppable. The forces of darkness may try to hinder you, but they can't. You've already won. All you have to do now is walk in that victory. Goodbye for now, and may your journey be filled with light, authenticity, and divine guidance. The world needs your truth more than you know. As you continue on this journey, know that you are never alone. The celestial forces are with you, and they are guiding you, even when you don't feel them. The angels, the archangels, and even the divine are watching over you, celebrating your authenticity and waiting for you to fully recognize the immense power you carry. The world is shifting because of your willingness to be authentic, and as the veil of illusion continues to lift, you will find yourself stepping more and more into your divine purpose. Now, I want you to take a moment and reflect on the change you've already made, both within yourself and in the world around you. Think back to that conversation, to those words you spoke. Maybe you remember the discomfort you felt, maybe you don't. But know that what you did in that brief moment was nothing short of miraculous. And the truth is, you've been doing this all along, unknowingly. The difference now is that you are starting to see the impact of your words and actions. You are beginning to understand the gravity of your authenticity. As you move forward, remember this: you are not alone. You are a part of something much greater than yourself. Your actions have consequences, not just in the visible world, but in the unseen realms as well. Your authenticity is a powerful force for change, and when you embrace it fully, You will unlock doors to a destiny far greater than anything you can imagine right now. So, as we part ways for now, remember this one final truth. You are already enough. You have everything within you that you need to succeed in this life and to fulfill the divine purpose you were always meant to fulfill. You don't need to try harder, you don't need to change who you are, and you don't need to seek approval from anyone else. All you need to do is keep walking in your truth, keep speaking with clarity, and keep being the person you are meant to be.